Is your mind trapped inside that shady business called twin flames? Now, in this sick society, we can agree sooner or later, more or less, that, well, its purpose is not to enlighten you but to keep you confused. Now, confusion means that something within you isn't working anymore, it's not supporting you anymore. But at the same time, it also means that you're looking for answers. The point is, when you're confused, you are prone to simply seek help. And sick societies don't provide you the help that you need. You'll find all these fake gurus with stolen and uh, ununderstood knowledge, probably even wisdom. See, there are a lot of book yogis, as they are called in this world. They've read a few books and now they're talking to you about chakras, how to activate them, how to move them across the body, and all sorts of things that people who aren't knowledgeable, well, they're gullible to simply fall for these things. And the unfortunate thing is, when people fall for the first of these fake gurus, they will end up believing that, that is the ultimate truth. It is much easier to fool someone than to convince them that they have been fooled. See, the Christian religion, also the, I think, other monotheist religions, present this mind poisoning concept called the soul. See, I've been telling people that I don't have a soul. There is no such thing as soul. Because when you're introspective for over 20 years, even in a single lifetime, and well, I'm not some kind of super illuminated guru, but when you're introspective for so long, you get to feel certain things within, how your body functions, and you get access to certain knowledge. When you also are more intuitive than you are mental, you will make much less use of concepts and the such. Hence why I have this so-called, well, not quite hatred, but repulsion towards meaning. I don't find any interest in using words and such. It's just something that I require so that, well, I try to make myself understood to people. So the concept of the soul, well, one of the origins that I heard is from any of the Indian belief systems. And there they have a concept called, well, I forgot what it's called, because they have quite quirky meanings. And Paramatman, or whatever the name was, that one represented something which is called the bliss body. Now, the bliss body is technically the piece of life which simply inhabits this physicality. And there's multiple layers that it simply requires, right? Because we have multiple layers of physicality, and the bliss body is beyond physicality, right? There are said to be 5 layers, and well, the fifth one is not physical. It is called the bliss body, and as of what I heard, no one knows how exactly it looks, because being beyond physicality most likely doesn't even have a shape. And being beyond physicality, obviously the mind cannot comprehend it because there is no dimension to attach to it. So this idea of the soul was misinterpreted, obviously, by a lot of the Christian monks or, disciples, researchers, whatever you want to call them, who went abroad to find new information. Some of this information is also said to have been brought by the Knight Templars, and there's a reason why they were executed, although history says they were plotting treason and such. But you can never trust his story, right? Not history, his story, because it's always written by those who win, and obviously they won't say anything that would, have others down look on them, right? So when it comes to this idea of the soul, well, it is said that it's just a ghost that's wandering around, it finds a body, and well, it lives and then it dies, and it is, cruelly and viciously judged by God. And well, at the same time, religion seems to also speak about reincarnation, but the masses kind of were never told about reincarnation, because if they knew about the such, they wouldn't fear God that much. Even nowadays, you have so many people who simply praise God, and they expect the stupid God to simply do something for them and move some magical finger, and well, their life will sooner or later become better, because that's how they were programmed for like hundreds of years. One of the programmings of the church was, well, give all your riches, live poor, and you will be simply, well, given all the riches in heaven. Now, in the meantime, the priests and the church would live in utmost richness, because they would manipulate the fools to believe whatever they wanted. So this soul was a great invention, because with the idea of the soul now comes a lot of pseudo-awakenists, or neo-awakenists as I call them, these so-called fake gurus of awakening, who constantly preach all sorts of invented ideas that sound so perfect on the paper. The idea of a perfect mate, the person that you'll have the perfect relationship with, right? And everything must be perfect. When you speak about perfection in a society, obviously that is a sick society. Where have we heard about perfection? Well, narcissists, because they are the only ones who are obsessed with perfection. Obviously, perfectionism is not only a narcissistic specification, it's also something that, people who run away from their responsibilities would do, because it always looks like you have something to do. It feels like a quest, and being a mind quest, it never ends, because once you achieve something, it's never too good, it's never too right, it still has or needs something else. And even if you succeed it, you already have plans for the next few things that you want to pursue. So it always gives people this distraction from who they are. And it also gives them a sense that they're not lost, right? Because once you give up the mind, once you detach yourself from the emotions in a conscious, not unconscious way, well, then you're fully ready to become introspective. So if we are to move even further, well, the point is very, very simple. See, nowadays we have this idea of soulmates, and obviously we have the idea of a twin flame. See, these bozos managed to translate the idea of twin flames in the sense that when you're reincarnated as a gender, right, you have, your soul splits, right? And it splits into two, and one is a male, one is a female, and somewhere in this world these two halves there are, and sooner or later you will come together. Well, this seems ridiculous and childish, and now the funny thing is, as I said in a previous video, with the new genders that some bozos are interested in creating, well, what would the twin flames of transgender people be like, right? Because the soul has, for now, it only has two genders. Will they actually invent something through which, the soul actually finds more genders, and, they will make this even more intricate? Because people who want to constantly distract themselves, they need intricacies. You can see it in science and such. All the people there are simply frustrated about this society. They're not doing much to change it, but they're frustrated about this society. But they simply revel in all the details, because it gives food to thought, right? Food for thought. It gives food to their mind, and it keeps them busy. If they can't keep themselves busy, they feel lost. They feel depressed, and, well, they feel that they don't have any purpose. Just making use of the mind and your emotion won't have you get far in life. The mind can only get you confused, and, well, the emotions can only get you to good or bad, because there is no other way. Once someone starts feeling conscious, right, because consciousness is a state, it is not something, right? Because nowadays you also hear bozos saying that they want to download consciousness. No, you just download someone's mental knowledge. You don't download consciousness. There is no such thing as consciousness. Consciousness is not something downloadable. It is a state. It is a state of the mind. You can either be unconscious and act as a drone, or you can be simply conscious and act based on your own power and own volition and based on your own energies. When you feel tired, you go to sleep. When you feel capable of doing things, you simply do them. You're no longer disconnected from your body and act mechanically and such. But it's way harder to simply live consciously because, well, you have to take into account how you breathe, how you walk, how you keep your body, and this is already straining enough. And, well, if you don't believe me, do this for 1 single hour and you'll see what I'm talking about. So now with, soul flames or whatever, soul mates, yes, these are near perfect ones, okay? Because if you're not lucky enough, so technically life is a lottery, if you're not lucky enough, well, you get these people in your life, and well, watch out, there can also be false soulmates and false twin flames. It's not enough that people invented stuff and then they became slaves of their own inventions. They also created even more, because if there's something good, obviously there's something bad, because where there's God, there's obviously a devil. And you see so many advocates of either of the two parts. They forget that both of the parts are part of the same coin and they are part of the same existence and they cannot live apart. But you'll see these wonderful minds talking about stuff, but if you look at them more carefully, you'll see that they are basically hollow. They don't have much of an idea what they're talking about. All they want is the attention, and you see so many people coming out and having so many of these webinars and things through which they win money because people are gullible, right? It was enough to tell simple-minded people about the soul, and repeating that for several generations, well, they took it as the only possible existence, right? You can still hear a lot of people saying that you're condemning your soul with bad deeds and such. They're talking about others, but most likely they're also rotten themselves. But you know how people are, they're easily gullible. So don't fall for such crap, because there is no such thing as a twin flame. There is no such thing as soulmates. See, in life there is something which I have coined compatibility. See, when you get a pet, that pet is a piece of life as well. Just like you are a piece of life, you have a certain body. That animal, that pet, also has its own physical body, but ultimately it is a piece of life. And in between their karmic structure and your karmic structure, there is a certain compatibility. You'll see that with some animals, they simply don't like you, but your neediness will simply have you want any kind of pet. Because once you're convinced that you don't like people, or that you're not worthy of people's attention, you obviously will want pets. Because when you're needy for attention, you are both a slave and also a master at the same time. And what other than a human can you simply transform into, let's say, someone you'll spend your life with, other than an animal? Because animals are simple-minded. If you feed them enough and you give them enough comfort, they will simply stay with you. Humans have more emotions. Humans might simply leave you, and, well, animals would also leave you, but the point is, well, their comfort zone will always be much stronger than, any sense of awareness. Extremely rarely will you see animals trying to escape you, well, except when you are becoming a bit too aggressive or something like that. But ultimately, this is very simple to understand. A lot of people will simply seek these things because this is how society functions. It creates all sorts of insecurities within you, and then it comes with pseudo rescues, right? So many people have sexual insecurities because obviously if you don't look like those perfect men or perfect women, those actors, those mainstream media actors and singers, if you don't look like that, you're not worthy of attention, right? This is the most hard-hitting frequency that the youth is being bombarded with, and a lot of them take their lives uselessly, right? Because they're convinced that if they don't look like that, well, they're not gonna be worthy of anyone else's attention. So that's how NGOs appear, supporting, if you don't feel worthy of people of the other gender, well, why not try your luck with people of the same gender? And then you've got people who, NGOs who support other ideas like, well, we support the idea of twin flame reunions and all sorts of these juicy things, right? They're just juicy for the mind. They're not having any worth, right? I was being bombarded by a certain stupid ad about two guys, a guy and a woman, right? And they were presenting themselves as perfect twin flames in communion, right? Or twin flames in perfect union or something like that. And they wanted to sell you some kind of seminar about how to find your twin flame. Then there's also that ad with the painter who can paint your twin flame and the such. It's like, don't fall for the such. Even if that painter can draw you your so-called soulmate, right? That doesn't say anything, because it doesn't mean that now that you have that portrait, you're actually gonna find that specific soulmate. They might already be dead, because this is a possibility, right? And let's not forget, there may be 100 or even 1,000 people who look very similar. Haven't you been stopped on the street by someone who said, "Hey, how are you doing?" And then they're like, "Oh, you look exactly like a friend of mine whom I haven't seen for a long while, and I took you for them," right? So it's only food for thought. It's not food for your soul. So it's not food for something that will feed you, right? That will feed your wisdom. That would feed your inner child. In these times where everything is going and crumbling, right, where economy is crumbling, having a child and finding yourself a so-called soulmate will be an extra anchor in life. What if chaos comes in your own country, in your own place, and you have to simply move away? If you have a family, it's going to be much harder. You already have enough chains, especially that of a job, or you also have your cat that you can't abandon. You also have your car. You also have a house. So you're already locked in place. Having a family means even more pressure. Let's not forget, a lot of people want to land you, right? And want to use your emotions against you. So this society is quite quirky. At the same time, it's kind of a crime to give birth to children nowadays, when everything is going to the drain, when schooling systems are even more busted than they used to be, and when politicians simply seek to make you kill yourself and at the same time also enjoy it, right? This seems to be the plan for society, and in the last 3 years, if you haven't been capable of seeing this, well, I doubt anything else can save you. So this being said, hopefully this video was introspective. You are appreciated. Take care, have fun, enjoy life, and well, take care. Feel free to also view any other content on this channel. And this being said, Ferencan Board signing out.